Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 defensive linemen in the 2023 NFL Draft. As we all know, we're just over a month away from the NFL Draft, depending on when you're watching this. Being a Detroit Lions fan, we definitely do know that we could use an upgrade when it comes to the interior defensive line, specifically for pass rushing capabilities. We're missing that Aaron Donald kind of a player that is able to not only stop the run, but rush the quarterback. So today we'll be taking a look at a couple of different guys in this year's draft, including Jalen Carter, Kalija Kansi, Brazee, Keanu Benton, and Mozzy Smith. So we'll be taking a look at some film, some highlights. It's really just going to be a lot of highlights, to be honest with you, because there's not really much that I can look at when I look at these guys and be like, they need to fix this, they need to fix that. The only real thing that any of these guys need to fix would be, here and there maybe giving up on plays or something like that, or not giving enough effort on a certain play. When I was watching their film and highlights, I saw a lot of times where every single one of these guys would get stuck behind an offensive lineman, and I really looked to see, were they still battling and trying to get free? Were they still trying to break through? Or were they just kind of giving up and lollygagging? I really kind of looked at that to see, what they were doing. Because the truth is that no matter who you are, whether you're Aaron Donald or the best defensive lineman in the NFL, you're going to get stuck behind blocks. You're going to get stuck on an offensive lineman. So it's really your capability of fighting through that offensive line and still getting to the quarterback, keeping that effort up. That's what the Detroit Lions look at. That's what guys like Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are going to look at. So if you have that capability in you, that's definitely going to be a factor if you're going to get drafted to Detroit or not. But when I do watch these guys, they all have really similar qualities, super big, super athletic, and super strong. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see all of their, capabilities and what they're good at. And I really do believe that any of these 5 guys would really help the Detroit Lions interior line, especially when it comes to pass rushing and stopping the run. So let's get things started by taking a look at the man himself, Jalen Carter. Now, I'm sure most of you college football fans know exactly who this guy is, but if you don't know, or even if you do know who he is, Jalen Carter is by far probably the number 1 or number 2 prospect coming into this year's NFL Draft, even ahead of guys like Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, Will Levis. This guy is so talented. You don't see defensive linemen, especially in the interior, come out like this every year. It's a once every 5-year kind of a thing. And by the way, when I do these, I'm kind of just like narrating and talking about the player, maybe talking about the play and things like that. But anyway, looking at Jalen Carter, I know he's got that whole situation with the car accident or whatever it was where one of his teammates ended up getting killed, and I think, one of his coaches, I forget the full details of that. But all I do know is, even though he got a misdemeanor, I think it was, something like that, it's not going to affect this dude's draft stock. He's going to be a top 6 pick. He's not going to escape the Lions. He's not going to go past the Lions, I should say. Taking a look right here, he just kills Hendon Hooker. Ends up, it should have been a safety. I remember watching this game live. It should have been a safety, but they ended up ruling him down at the half-yard line. So obviously that first clip kind of showing his strength, showing his ability to rush the quarterback. Something that's, really intriguing with Jalen Carter, obviously. But this clip's going to show his ability to not only stop the run, but to force turnovers. He's able to get into the backfield whenever he wants. He can move around offensive linemen no matter who he's against because he's so powerful and so big. So obviously right here, like I said, he's going to get into the backfield, ends up forcing the turnover in a big game against Tennessee, number 1. Tennessee, by the way. Big turnover there. And I would love to have a defensive lineman that can force turnovers. So this game was in the SEC Championship against LSU. Probably one of his best games, to be honest, that I've seen at least. I remember watching this game. Great game. I mean, not really, but Georgia kind of dominated this. But so looking at this, this is going to show a lot, actually. This is going to show his ability to rush the quarterback, and then it's going to show some strength. You're going to see it at the end of the clip when he makes the play here. You can see him get right through the line, and then he just picks up, I think it's Max Johnson is the quarterback for LSU, but he just picks him up with one arm like it's nothing. That's probably a 200-pound quarterback that he's just lifting up with one arm. So I'm sure most of you probably saw the whole trade that went down with the Bears and Panthers, and that's actually really significant for the Lions because with the Bears trading all the way down to 9 behind the Lions, that takes out one more team that could go after Jalen Carter, and probably the team that would most likely take him. As you can see right there, again, busting through the line, getting to the running back. But anyway, I do think that there's a chance that he could fall to the Detroit Lions because I think the Seahawks, if they could definitely go Carter, but if they want to get a pass rusher like Tyree Wilson, they could definitely go Tyree Wilson. But right here, Jalen Carter, our last clip of him, he's going to end up blocking the kick. This is also against LSU. And then actually, if you guys watched this game, you probably remember this. This was pretty funny. No one really realized that it was live. Ball was not dead. And yeah, they're going to run it back to the house. But so yeah, Jalen Carter, that's going to be the last clip for him. And now we move on to Kalija Kansi. And if you do not know this guy yet, you need to learn who this guy is, because he is a lot like Jalen Carter. And honestly, if we were, unable to get Jalen Carter, this is definitely a guy I could see the Detroit Lions going for at 6 even. A lot of mock drafts I was taking him at 18 or him falling even behind there. This guy will for sure be a top 15 pick. He's one of those guys that really shined at the combine. And if you look at this guy and watch him, he reminds you so much of Aaron Donald, who, by the way, also went to Pitt. And if you look at Kalija Kansi's combine stats, they're almost identical to Aaron Donald. So it's going to be interesting to watch this guy grow. Going into the NFL, as you can see right there, rocks Hendon Hooker, busts through the line, and just completely gets right to the quarterback. I mean, that's exactly what we want. I mean, look at that move, and ends up taking down Hendon Hooker. This clip right here from Kalija Kansi is going to show how strong this dude is. I mean, he is one physical specimen. He is able to bust through any offensive line that you put against him. So right here, he's just going to basically bulldoze over the offensive lineman, and then he's going to run up to the running back, and then also shove him into the earth as well. As you can see, I mean, that's exactly what you want in an interior defensive lineman. He's a game wrecker, and I mean, that's what most people describe him as when they're, describing how Kalija Kansi plays and who he is. It's just what he does. So from all the mock drafts that I've seen so far of Kalija Kansi, most of them have him going usually late first round. I've seen some that don't even have him in it, so meaning that he probably goes second round. There's no way this guy slips out of the top 15. As you can see right here, again, just rushing the quarterback. This guy had 17.5 sacks in his career at Pitt. I think he was like a 3-year starter. Absolutely unreal. Obviously, when you have a star interior defensive lineman, they're going to be able to stop the run too. So right here, again, this is against Louisville. You can see he's circled right there, kind of in the middle of the defensive line. So the running back's going to take it in the shotgun. He's just going to try and run it kind of towards like the top of the screen, kind of like up the middle. And Kalija Kansi is just going to be right there. And there's nowhere for this running back to go. He's just going to go right into the ground for a loss of 2. So another thing that's going to really help this guy come draft day is his IQ. Right here, this is going to be an attempt of a trick play for Virginia. I forget exactly what this play is called, but basically it's going to get handed off to the running back. He's going to toss it back to the wide receiver, and then they're going to toss it back to the quarterback. Kalija Kansi was not fooled whatsoever. Ends up making like a 20-yard loss. I mean, that just shows, he knows what's going on. As you can see next, we have Brazee out of Clemson. And this guy, if you did not know, was a former #1 overall recruit coming out of high school. So he's definitely got it in him to be, that guy. And I definitely see this guy being a mid to late first-round pick. I've seen a lot of mocks of him going to the Lions. Towards the beginning of the offseason, there was a lot of him going 6th. Now it's all, Lions taking him 18th overall. You can see right there, gets into the end zone, and I forget what they end up ruling this. I don't know if it was a safety, a fumble, a touchdown, or what it was, but ends up making the play there. So that last clip showing his ability to rush the quarterback, this clip's also going to show that. You can see him down in the interior. He's actually really big. He's not overly fast compared to, let's say Kalija Kansi, Jalen Carter. He's not quite as fast as them, but he's big enough and strong enough to, where he's going to be dominant. But he's still got some speed in him, as you can see, getting right to the quarterback right there and makes a big 8 to 9 yard loss. So this clip right here is just going to kind of show Brazee being able to stop the run. So all that's going to happen here is just going to be a run play. Running back's going to take it from the shotgun. He's going to run up to the top of the screen. Brazee is just going to kind of plow through his blocker. He doesn't really do any moves. He just kind of keeps running through his blocker and shoving him backwards, and ends up running right into the running back. You'll kind of see it here. Just keeps moving, and then grabs the running back and makes like a nice little 3-yard loss. So for those of you that actually did not know this, his stats definitely weren't a lot this year, just because he had a lot of off-the-field issues going on, plus he was dealing with an injury throughout the season. So this past year was not really a year for him, stat-wise. Sophomore year, he did get a lot of play time. I think even freshman year he played, being a #1 recruit and all. Right here, again, just kind of not even filling his own gap, just kind of making a play on the running back, talking a little crap too. Looking at some freshman year highlights against Ohio State, again, showing his ability to stop the run, fill gaps, and get after the running back in the backfield and not letting him get more than half a yard. So right here, it's actually going to be a run to Mayan Williams. He's actually going to loses almost 5 yards, actually. So a great play by Brazee. Our first 3 guys were actually all in the ACC, and now we're going to be taking a look at the Big Ten, starting with Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin. And as you can already see, this guy is massive. He's huge. He's muscular. He's kind of like a Brian Brazee in a way, just he's fairly athletic for how big he is. He's not the fastest, not the quickest, but he is so powerful, a great run stopper, and can get to the quarterback, which is probably the most important thing when it comes to an interior defensive lineman, especially when you are targeting a pass rushing one. Right here, you're going to see him get right out, get up on his blocker, and just doesn't even really get touched and just gets right to the quarterback. Kind of an easy sack for him, but still staying with the quarterback, not letting him escape. I touched earlier on the fact that I watch for guys that don't give up on a play and keep fighting, keep trying to get to the quarterback no matter what. Right here, you can see him going after Tualia Tungavailoa. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but Tualia is a very athletic guy. He's going to try and escape, and Keanu Benton is going to stay right with him, make the ankle tackle, not letting Tungavailoa escape. This is actually a fairly impressive play by Keanu Benton. So all that's going to happen here is just going to be a run play, basically like right up the middle. Keanu Benton is going to fill that gap right away, and the running back's going to have to try and make a move and get to the outside, as you can see right here. But Keanu Benton does not let him go, takes him down in the backfield for the big loss. Great play. And I really like how this shows his ability to just shed blockers. You can see him gets through two different guys, really, and then just gets right to the running back. Does not waste any time taking him down. Another play of Keanu Benton just getting right past his blocker. It's exactly what you want from an interior lineman, is to be able to just shed through those blocks, get right to the running back, the quarterback, whoever has the ball. So right here, he's going to do that yet again. Just gets right past the offensive lineman trying to block him, makes the play in the backfield. Great play by Keanu Benton. This is another really impressive play. He's going to end up making a huge loss here. This is against Nebraska. So if you guys were wondering, Keanu Benton is probably going to be a guy you're going to see with picks 48 or 55. He's probably going to be a mid to late second round pick, I'd say. So definitely a guy that the Lions, I think, are not only interested in, but a very high possibility of them taking him. As you can see right here, getting past his blocker yet again and getting right to the quarterback in our last clip of Keanu Benton. Now we'll move on to our final player of this video, the freak of college football, Mozzy Smith. And I've touched on this before. I'm a huge Michigan State fan, but that does not mean that I don't like Michigan players. It's usually just the fan base that I don't like, even though I still love all of my Michigan fans, do not worry. But either way, we're going to take a look at Mozzy Smith here, a guy who is really more of a run stopper than anything, but still would be such a force to have in the interior because of how much of a freak he is. I think he had the best bench press at the combine, something like that. Like he's just an absolute freak. He's called the freak of college football. It's literally his nickname. He is just a heck of a monster. So right here at first play, showing his ability to shed blockers and then just get right into the backfield and stop the run for a loss of 3. An amazing play there by Mozzy Smith to start out. Obviously playing on a stacked Michigan defense. He's not going to have a ton of highlights and the most amazing stats, but he still is able to get to the quarterback here and there. It was hard to find a lot of clips of him doing it. But either way, he still is able to get to the quarterback. You can see him just shoving over the offensive lineman and then just getting right to the quarterback to end up making the 8-yard sack. Great play by Mozzy Smith again. So this is that TCU game that I know we all love. Sorry, Michigan fans, but Mozzy Smith actually had one of his better games from what I watched against TCU, even though Michigan's defense was completely awful that whole game. I mean, I don't even know what the hell happened in that game, but Mozzy Smith still showed up and actually made a huge impact. Right here, it's just kind of showing his ability to stop the run, fill the gaps, exactly what you want your interior lineman to do. Ends up only giving up maybe 1 or 2 yards, so another great play there. Staying in that TCU game, again, Mozzy Smith stopping the run here. So Max Duggan's just going to hand it off to, I forget the backup running back's name for TCU, but this actually might have been the starter. I forget his name, Kendrick Miller or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But it's going to go right to the running back, and Mozzy Smith kind of gets pushed back a little bit and then just immediately just throws the running back into the ground. Looking at some 2021 film for Mozzy Smith right here. This is going to be against Indiana. This was right after, I think, Michigan State took down the undefeated Michigan Wolverines. And I still don't understand how Michigan ended up making the playoff that year, and we didn't. But Mozzy Smith standing up the running back, filling his gap, and making the great play. Well, guys, that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. For some future videos, let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see, whether it's Detroit Lions, Detroit Pistons, Michigan State. I'm planning on coming out with some Michigan State basketball videos coming up probably next, kind of talking about the future. Obviously, March Madness is coming up basically like starting like this week, I think. And so we'll kind of talk about that maybe, but just kind of talk about the future. We'll talk about, some other stuff as well. And then, but yeah, so thank you guys again so much for watching. Let me know what videos you want to see next. And maybe let me know what defensive lineman maybe that's growing on you, or that you maybe didn't really know of and now you are very impressed with. So let me know, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.